Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott and welcome to the competition results for the Stylized hand-painted competition. Lots of entries, so lots to go through. Let's get straight to it. Okay, so we'll start with this one from Null System. Nice piece, great artistic skill. It is really useful to have an artistic ability when you're working with Blender if you want to get into the industry, especially the games industry. I know there's sort of hard surface modelling and things like that, but having some artistic skill really does help, and we can certainly see that here from Null System. Really nice. The next thing to work on is depth in your paintings, or drawings I should say, so start thinking more about shading and more about making your subject pop away from the background and things like that. Nice work there. This one's from Manouk. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. I failed to pronounce anybody's names right. And it's called, what is it? Mecha Devastator. I like it. So using stencils and bump map as well to add some extra detail. Yep, so again with hand painted techniques you can use stencils. I didn't go through that much. I was hoping to a bit more in the tutorials and things, but hopefully most people got the idea. Really nice piece again. Excellent model as well as nice textures. Can we zoom in a little bit as well? Let's just zoom into one of these. I think that will be helpful. This one here would be good. So on the bump, I would say this looks very organic and your model is a very hard surface. So although I suppose you could mix the elements and combine the elements, but you need to combine it in the actual model shape as well as the textures if you're going to do that. So if you want it to be half organic, half mechanic, then you'd need to sort of model some organic shapes and then texture those as organic as well. I like it though, it's very good, and the hand-painted style is really working nicely here. Well done. So this one's from Eric J. Really nice piece of work here. They talked about using the mouse in places or something like that, so it's a bit wobbly or something, but I think it's superb. It really does look excellent. I like the lighting too. Up the top here really helps to, like I was saying from the last images, but sort of helps the character pop out from the background. Good choice of colours as well. You can tell this person's really got some artistic style and understanding of colour as well. It's really nice. Nice subject matter as well, and really interesting to look at. Hasn't gone overboard on the details, so there's enough detail in the earrings and in this sort of collar here, but not too much. It's not everywhere, which can be distracting at times. The 70-30 rule I've talked about before, so 30% detail and 70% non-detail, as it were, is what you want to be going for, and that's kind of perfect, really. Really great. I love it. Now here's one from Crapzone. I do wonder whether I'm pronouncing that right as well. People often talk about my pronunciation of names and then correct me, but then I forget by the time the next competition comes around, so you just have to put up with your new name that I give you. So this is second entry. Everything is sculpted and hand painted. All done. Whoa! Doesn't have a graphics tablet. All done with a mouse. That's impressive, isn't it? That really is impressive. So this work here must have taken ages with a mouse. But that's very interesting, because I always say you can't really, well, I don't say you can't, but I say it's really tough with a mouse. And I wouldn't have thought you'd get this sort of detail with a mouse. So that's exceptional work. I think maybe the shoulder looks a tiny bit bulky here. These are minor points because it's a really great piece. The eye digs in a bit too much there. So yeah, pushing the eye forward a bit. Eyes are really tough to get right, but this is an amazing piece, especially using a mouse. That's really tough. Love the colours. The colours really help sell the piece. Really great work. Fantastic stuff, as always. So this one is from Manouk again, and it's Haunted Church. I like this. It's got the hand-painted style. I like the next one better. Yep, that's fantastic, isn't it? Using the lighting, but we can't see so much of the painted textures at this point. But it does look really great. It's interesting though, Eevee has this problem, doesn't it, of light bleeding through. and I can't remember which setting is, but you can sort of turn that off with the sort of clipping setting, some sort of shadow clipping, I can't remember what it is now. Contact shadows, that's the one. So you can, it's watching out for these sort of things because the light wouldn't spill onto there in such a high detailed way. So yeah, there's issues with Eevee more than your work. But let's have a quick look at the texture painting again. Really, really nice. I'd go a little bit more detailed with these rocks perhaps, because they just look too flat and sharp. So adding a few more polys there would help you. I think you've got quite a lot of polys in your roof tiles, you see, so you might as well do the same for your rocks. So there's sort of detail and then less detail. And with your styles, you should be sort of matching up. There shouldn't be a sort of high poly style and then a low poly style, if that makes sense. So try and keep it consistent. But I do like the piece, really great. I think there was actually a video with that, but I'm sort of steering clear of videos because they're just a bit awkward to record and things. This one is from Eric J again. So the second entry. This is just brilliant, isn't it? So all the patterns were painted by hand directly in Blender with a mouse. Absolutely crazy. That must have been so awkward. I'm going to zoom in to see. Oh, I can't zoom in when it's. Oh wait, hang on. Can I? No. Oh, when I'm in full screen mode, I can't zoom in. That's pretty useless, isn't it? I want to see how detailed we can go. Oh, that's good for a mouse, isn't it? That's got to have been hard. Obviously using mirror, I'm assuming. But this is great, isn't it? Look at these detailed textures. And I really like the subject as well. I think that is a great idea and model. It just looks brilliant. One of my favourites so far, this one. Nicely lit, not too harsh, nice soft shadows and nice background. It looks really, really great. Lovely piece of work, and it will be a lovely portfolio piece. And it's a certain style as well. It just looks very creative, fun, individual, really fantastic work. Love it. This one is from Agent Knopf. Probably pronounced that wrong as well. Most effort went into painting the surface of the island, flowers, grass, etc. Yeah, you can see that there actually. This is nice work. I like them. It's a tiny bit uniform in this area. We could possibly do with some up here. I like the idea that the rocks coming through there. That's nice. We've got a lot of shadow here, so maybe with hand painting, I like to sort of paint in the shadow more than use the lights, and just have the lights to add that extra little bit. But they're adding an awful lot here, so we've got lots of shadow coming from our lights, and that gives it sort of a very, I don't know, it's almost like a dark feel because it's quite high contrast, so difference between the sort of lights and darks. It's got a sort of chiaroscuro look, which is the artistic use of shadows basically. And it makes it look a little bit thriller-esque and horror-esque, but it's a really nice bright scene here. So watching out for your shadows. Can you see that harsh shadow there? We need a nice light shadow. So ideally, just light this with your HDRI in the background, and then you'd get a better look, I think, especially with hand-painted textures in here. I like the river, especially up in this bit. It does look very rough, but it's quite fun, isn't it? Nice work. Really exceptional work with the hand-painted textures. It looks really nice and fun. Excellent. This one's quite a fun one from Philippe Le Pilot, and my proposal for Stylized hand painted. So it's good fun, this, isn't it? I'm actually gonna zoom into this one as well because it deserves it. Oh, now it's not letting me zoom in. Now this is a pretty useless program. This Windows, classic Windows. Hopefully you've all seen was it CG Geek's video about using Linux and how much faster it is. I'm just trying to zoom in again, but it's not working. So all go across to Linux, I think, is the answer. Anyway, this is a great idea with the painting inside a painting inside a painting. I just wanted to know how far it went, so I wanted to be able to zoom in here and see how far we went. But great fun. I love this jacket here, this sort of painter's jacket. The textures are lovely, aren't they? Are these all hand painted as well? They look hand painted. They look sort of like they might be procedural here, but they've got that hand-painted feel, certainly. So it sort of goes with the stylized hand-painted look, and this is obviously hand-painted. Excellent thought, excellent thinking, and excellent idea. I don't particularly like the black, but that might just be a preference thing. I steer clear of black because it's one of those things in art that blacks and whites, you sort of bring your colours in slightly, so you've got more to play with, but it just seems so black and so dark. But I suppose that's the style, isn't it? That's just me, my personal preference. But I do like it as a piece, really nice. So this one is from Manuk again. That's interesting. I feel like we've had a few from Manuk already. 2 entries per person, but not to worry because this looks good fun. In the Dungeons and Dragons fantasy role-playing game, blah blah blah. Oh, I see. Mimic is a type of fictional monster. I see. So we got this sort of treasure chest with teeth and tongue. It does look good, actually. I feel like your textures are sort of maybe the model here isn't working for some reason. We got some overlapping of your actual UVs, is it? Yeah. Maybe your UVs are overlapping or the mesh is overlapping, but it just goes really sharp at points. You should always use soft shading when you're painting. In fact, I say that, but maybe there's situations where you wouldn't, but generally soft shading, and you paint in the hard surfaces with your paint strokes. So in this case, I feel like you've either got hard shading on or you've got some seams around the place or overlapping geometry, and that's letting it down really slightly because it's a really, really nice hand-painted piece. Absolutely fantastic work. Love the style, love the textures, and your painting skills are really good. So just watch out for your model overlapping itself. Nice work though. Now this is a fun one from AI Can Help. Hand drawing painting is not my thing. I know that now. Never say something's not your thing or that you're bad at something because it's really good to keep diversifying your skills and work on your weaknesses as well, because then you become a more rounded artist. So try your best to work on your weaknesses. So this picture is actually based on street art from somewhere in France. I'm from the Netherlands. I painted the girl and used particle systems for the grass. Yep, that I think you've got some ability here. I mean, it looks really fantastic. It's great. These are supposed to be sort of pom-poms from this cheerleader. It looks brilliant. It looks really great. A cool piece of street art, and it's working nicely. I like your textures for the ground, grass and everything like that, and then this hand-painted sort of stencil on top. It's just great. So I'm assuming you painted this as a layer on top after baking this texture, perhaps. I'd be interested in that bit. That would be nice to know about. This yeah, really, really great. Love the piece, and don't say hand painting is not your thing because you're doing really well with it. Fantastic work. So this one is from AD Awesome. It's an animation, so I should be able to play this. Yes, I'm going to turn the sound off because I had problems with copyright for the last one, and it got a copyright strike because of the Simpsons sound from Frank's team. And there we go. I like the animation. That's a good idea with the particle system up the top there, and the sort of idea that he's a weird sort of bomb. Yeah, good fun. I like the hand-painted textures. I would sort of paint in a bit of shadow around here. I'm assuming these are sort of stitches across the top here. So painting in a bit more shadow would make this sort of, the textures pop that bit more as well. Nice work though, excellent stuff. This one was a very popular one. Yes, it's got lots of votes. The Lovely Taco. My submission for Hand Painted Texture Challenge. Had lots of fun. Thank you, Grant. Oh, no problem. For all the great tips and techniques. Feel free to check out the download on Sketchpad. Yes. Yeah, this nicely laid out, nicely composed piece. All works really well together. I really like this. This is a case actually where they've used hard surface. That's hard surface shading, sort of flat shading. That's the word I'm looking for. They've used flat shading, and it works for them. I would have personally gone soft shading. I don't like the flat shading around here. It just looks a bit too harsh for me. I'd rather soft shading, and the textures are lovely in here. They're really nice, and it gives it real character. but I still feel like these harsh edges don't suit me as a style, but I think they're working for you here, so really well done. I love this stylized texture with the tree, and the way you've textured it's really nice, simple but effective. And it's quite easy to do these sort of textures, not these ones, but these ones, but it looks really great, so you don't have to go overly complicated with your textures. Not saying that this isn't complicated, it is, but in places it's nice and simplistic, works really well, and it's a fantastic piece. Really like it. I should show it on Sketchfab as well really, but unfortunately time escapes us. So this one is from Carlos Marti. I have to improve a lot, I know. That's what they say anyway. I think it's fantastic. Really nice piece once again. This is some really great work, and it's nice to see people's artistic skill coming out and people experimenting and maybe having their first go with texture painting. That's the whole idea of these competitions. It's to just give it a go and have some fun. It looks great. It looks really nice. I think we could have gone with some shading down here and maybe some cracks in the marble or something like that. Would have been quite fun to experiment with. Perhaps a little bit harsh on the edges here, maybe sort of break them up a bit. But it's brilliant. It's really good fun. I like the lighting idea as well. Maybe a bit more shine and glow here. Maybe doing some sort of emission or light coming from here just to sort of spice it up a little bit. But that's a really great piece. So well done. Another one from Null Systems. That's fantastic work again. So this is this a 3D model? Yes. I just thought I'd check that because it looks a bit 2D, but the edge looks like it's 3D. It's quite weird. The thumb looks a bit weird here though. That's the only problem. It's just great fun, isn't it? The eyes are really, really cool and detailed. You see that? You can see that they understand how to just sort of do the anime eyes, and it makes a big difference being able to have that sort of artistic skill and then be able to put it into your models. And then we sort of got this hand painted look on the clothing, which is really hard to paint. I'm trying to think, is this a paint over? In fact, is it a 3D model and then painted over in something like Photoshop? I can't quite tell, but that's what it looks like to me, which is a good technique. Lots of concept artists do that. They do their models in 3D and then just take it across into something like Photoshop and paint over it, which is quite fun to do. Nice work, great piece. This one is from Zero Growl. Hopefully that's pronounced right. My first entry made in Blender and ZBrush, ZBrush to Americans of course, and pretty much everybody else in the world, but to British it is ZBrush. And I would say it's a word we don't use in our forum. No, of course not. But obviously most people are Blender, so we sort of shun anything ZBrush. It's a good fun model, isn't it? I like all the details and the crevices and the sort of expression and the stylized design is excellent. Interesting background actually. I'm not sure the background works with it for me. I would have gone more blurry with the background because it's slightly distracting, these shapes. And a tiny bit brighter, maybe a bit more light on your textures, or maybe just brightness on your textures. You could either do it with lighting or you can just brighten up your textures a bit. That's often a problem from Blender if you're rendering in Blender, just getting that brightness right. Sometimes it's a good idea to do a bit in post in something like Photoshop or GIMP or even Krita. So that's one piece. There's another one here. That's great fun. I do like it. I like the hole in the teeth as well. Really cool. They're just brilliant, aren't they? Such exciting expressions. And the last one as well. My third entry and last entry. So is there 3 entries allowed? I don't remember the rules of my own competition. This is great though. Nice work, great textures. The bump is a little bit sort of plasticky looking. It looks like one of those sort of fairground dinosaurs or something. So watch out for that. Maybe some subsurface scattering would soften that out and make it look a bit more real. The background looks cool in this though. That seems to work with the character quite well. Nice one. So this one is from King Pengu, The Clean Dungeon. Textures on a 512 by 512 maps. A map, sorry. No. So are these? I'm just having a look. Now, have you used the same texture and then sort of repeated it? It looks like you have. but it's actually difficult to tell. Ah, yeah, I can just see the seams there. It works really nicely. I think it's interesting how you've got a shadow in here and then it sort of highlights around here. It looks like there's sort of depth to each of the tiles. It's working, it is working though. And I suppose tiles kind of do that. Maybe I'd have to look at some references for sort of tile textures. The only thing I would say is it's possibly worth beveling some of your blocks. In fact, you need to smooth shade your rocks and blocks in this case, because it's so harsh. So you smooth shade and then you highlight with the actual brush. So like a screen brush, and you draw down here. Then you'll get more of a rocky look rather than a very rigid block look, and it will look really cool because your texturing ability is very good. It looks a little bit skewed when it comes to areas like this that sort of were out of perspective a bit there, and it looks a bit orthographic as well, which is a good style to go for, but we probably want to come out a little bit, zoom out a bit if it's orthographic. It's sort of, yeah, these lines go this way and these come in a bit, so yeah, we've lost our perspective grid slightly. But it's really cool, a nice piece, and really great with hand textures. With this bit in here, it just needs to go a bit darker so it looks like there's more depth and more ambient occlusion in there, so darker in there, and you'll get that sort of step down which we're looking for there. Nice idea. Maybe a little bit of light coming from these to sort of glow, and you could even paint that into the textures. But actually no, you can't because they're repeated. You've sort of used a modular approach. But I do like it, and really well done. Nice work. Keep going because you've got some skill there. Now this one's an interesting one. This is from Elpidoni. I don't know, I'm just sort of making these names up now. Elpidoni, I think is how you pronounce it. So this is Pietra R.B. Carvel, portrayed by Neil Maskell in Utopia series. Okay, I mainly use Blender, sculpting and texture painting, and Krita for some corrections and background painting. So that's fantastic, isn't it? So we've got that's very interesting and a nice style. So this model is sculpted and then painted on, but it's got this sort of painterly look. I like that, and that's quite a cool style. Really got some talent there, and I think, yeah, I'd really love to see what this would look like animated with these sort of textures on, and whether that would work as well. It's brilliant. Fantastic piece. Really like it. Like the backgrounds as well. So this was Krita, yeah, done in Krita. Yeah, really nice. It shows though, doesn't it, when someone has artistic ability and then they come across to a 3D program, and I think that really does help. So if you're just a techie sort of person in 3D, then work a little bit on your artistic skills as well and get that crossover, so you sort of work on your weaknesses in that way, because you do become a better artist and you get better pieces. Like this is a fantastic piece, isn't it? It feels a tiny bit bright in the background compared to the darkness here. Minor point, because it's just a little bit distracting. Maybe that's my monitor more than anything, I don't know. But this is just so powerful, this sort of drawing here, but it's really sort of taken away by the brightness around here. Maybe that's unfair, but maybe that's my opinion, but I just noticed that. So this one's from JB Gameplay. Didn't turn out completely as I wanted, but I did learn some new sculpting things, and I've learned some extra texture painting things. So JB Gameplay has their own YouTube channel with some Blender videos, so do go and check that out. And I do like this. It's great fun, isn't it? I like the sort of glow to these different areas. So it looks like you've plugged in an emission into these areas. That's a good fun idea. And is it? Yes, it looks like it's rendered in cycles as well. So this emission is actually giving off some emission. If it's Eevee, it doesn't work like that. I think it's really great fun. It's got this sort of weird style to it, a very sort of plasticky feel, but that works in this case because it's got that sort of shine and glow in places. Really good fun. I'm trying to have a look. It reminds me of the Monster logo, the Monster drink. I don't know why that suddenly popped into my head. I like your use of colours as well. It's interesting because this is very grey, but then we've got these really bright greens and then this pink. And just using 3 colours like that is quite fun. I think I might have even added one more colour in instead of the grey, and made, because the background's grey, he doesn't come out of the background very well. That's the only thing. That one minor criticism. Good fun piece, that one though. Well done, JB Gameplay. This one is from Murdoch. It's not completely hand-drawn, so I hope this counts. Oh, I see, so the hand-drawn is certainly here. This is great fun. I like this piece. And it doesn't have to be completely hand-drawn. In fact, I mean, everything looks pretty, like there's drawing on the skull. I suppose these are just blocked in with some textures, and there's a bit of bump there. But no, that's fine. That's part of the challenge, to at least experiment with hand-drawing and then bring it into your repertoire. That's the thinking with this anyway. Yes, these are great. Sort of that Cthulhu style. Yeah, I like this. Maybe a bit of, I'm assuming these are sculpted, so a bit of detail in the teeth, where the teeth sort of come out of some sort of jaw here. So they should be sort of separate objects in a sense. Not that you have to model them as separate, but give them some rigidity in there. I like the use of lighting. It's really nice. So we've got this sort of bluish light coming from here, but then these reddish lights as well, they're giving it that sort of power. Really nice piece, fantastic work, and the texture painting down here works really nicely. So here's one from Luca. They say, I sadly ran out of time on this. I guess this is the final piece. The clouds are made up with a noise texture, and a good idea for seeing edges with emission is turning on wireframe. I'm trying to think, where are the edges with emission? Turning on wireframe. Oh, I see. In terms of highlighting edges. But I can't see. Oh, I see. There, you can sort of see some edges. I'm thinking that's what they mean. So, yeah, when I paint, personally, I think most people do this as well. You sort of go across with a screen brush, and you need to be able to see the edges. I think that's what they're talking about with the wireframe idea. That's an interesting idea. I just put it into the BSDF mode when painting, and then go back to the sort of emission mode. But I get the idea. This is some nice work here, and the textures look really great across here. Fantastic work with the wood. I think a bit more sort of wobbly and wavy. It works here, the waviness. Maybe there needs to be a tiny bit more in terms of the distortion in the wood, because it's really rigid and flat. So not only thinking about your textures, which I think is very good, your ability to texture paint is good, but in the modelling, just distort your shape really slightly, and then it will look really good. I like the textures of your palm tree here. The coconut could be a bit darker, and then it will give it, because it looks very flat at the moment, all your the brightness of all your painting is very similar, except for this is a bit darker, which is a bit strange because it's on the same level as everything else. So it should be the same brightness, but when in this sort of crevices, that's where we should see a bit of darkness. So in here, we should see more darkness around the chest in here as well. Give it that sort of depth. This is a nice idea with the maybe pirates coming for their treasure, that sort of thing. A really nice piece. Some really nice. I love these rocks. That's worked really well. It's a bit sharp here as well. So give it a few more polys, I think, and it will look even better. Nice piece though. This one is from Hoodalali. Didn't have time to finish, unfortunately. And I think that's okay, not finishing. Don't worry about those things, because, well, a piece like this will take you days and days. It's really, there's lots going on here. They're really fantastic. There could be a whole new level down here, it could just go on forever. That's the problem. But I love the ideas, and don't worry about not finishing. Just have a go, get involved. That's the thing. You've got some skill, definitely. There's some really nice textures going on here. I love the idea of the different coloured blocks. They work really well. The rock is really good. Probably a little bit sharp in areas here, or you need to put more detail in everywhere else. It looks just a little bit odd there, but very good. The wood textures are working really nicely. They look fantastic. And that sort of wobbliness you've got working well. Fantastic. Perhaps a few sort of planks sticking up, so use a few more polys and make a bit stick out so it doesn't look so uniform, because it's very sort of flat across here. And you can even duplicate some of these barrels and break up the edges with those. I'm a little bit confused. Oh, this is sort of floating, these bits, are they? It's difficult to see that. Maybe a little bit on the lighting around here to show that this isn't part of this area. It's sort of breaking this down a lot because there's lots going on. There's some really good work, and there's a few minor mistakes that could really make a difference. So when you finish this piece, it will be a lovely portfolio piece. Really nice. Excellent work. This one's from Igor Konyakin, and this is their first competition. Welcome to Gabbit Media Competitions. This is great fun as well. I like what you've done with the base and the rocks. Perhaps a tiny bit too contrasty, but it's pretty good. And a bit more detail in the rocks on the top, perhaps. And I never got round to doing the water tutorial, so I feel bad for that. My fault that you haven't finished this, I think. But this is great fun. The fire is is quite dramatic at the back there, but I like the fire texture and the smoke and stuff. That's good fun. I like what you've done with the texture on top as well. So really some fantastic work here, and it's the start of a fantastic piece. I feel like we need a bit more in here, maybe a tree or something growing up here, and a lighter colour background. It's not quite black, but it's just too dark for the foreground, in my opinion. So just a bit lighter, and that will work nicely. But you've got the start of some really good skill here, so well done. Now this is the fire close up as well, isn't it? I love those textures. Really nice. Excellent work. Now this is an interesting one, isn't it? So we've got, this is from Rasmus, Supergirl versus Painted Hand. So we got painted using mouse, and my sister made the sky texture, which she did on her iPad. The texture painting process is now second nature to me. That's good to hear, isn't it? That's the idea behind these competitions, is to get out of your comfort zone, try things out, then you've got a new skill that you can put into your work. I love the little Blender icon graffiti over there. Nice thinking. This is a great model. This is working really well. The hands are a little bit weird, and they should be sort of flat, because she'd break her thumbs, I think, if that was... well, I suppose she's Supergirl, so she won't. But it just looks a little bit forced, I suppose, because this is really good, and it shows sort of weight, but we don't have the weight on her hands here to match up. Nice. The sky looks good, so well done to your sister. And I love this. This is really worked out really nicely, and some nice sort of painted technique there. And we got sort of some dirt and grime over the top as well. Yeah, this is really great. You're going to do well, because you've got some good artistic skills with your modelling, and your painting is certainly getting there as well. So that's fantastic, isn't it? You'll become a great artist. Love it. This one's from Timoleon. It's a mixture of hand-painted and procedural textures. Though in the end the hand-painted parts don't show up so much. I think this is a lovely piece. And that's this. So Timoleon has some real skill, and I think we've seen this in the past as well. Look at this modelling, this hard surface skill. And I love the fact that they're trying things out here with hand-painted textures, because that will add to their skill. And you can, I think we're seeing it in the wall here, so probably a mixture, and hand-painting the sort of the break between the two textures, I think, is the thinking there. And perhaps, I don't know if that is the procedural texture there, but some of this looks hand-painted, you see. But it's a nice style, and we've got some real griminess to areas. It looks really good. It's a great piece. I agree, the hand-painted stuff is hard to spot, but maybe that's a good thing. And having those skills, even for sort of realistic looking scenes like this, can help. So nice work there. Now we have got one from Frank, but I'll play that in a second. Then we got this last one from Matthias here. I think there might be there's two I've missed, isn't there? Yes, yeah, because they're videos, I have to sort of show them at the end. So I'm trying to keep up with the Blender Adventures idea and making it like an ending chart. So this is a hand-painted work here. Good, your skill is improving and your characters are getting better. It's nice to see that sort of improvement, like the Blender logo in the background there. So yeah, I won't read all this out, but I like the idea, and this sort of end screen idea is an interesting style. It's good to experiment with those things as well. Lots of jobs out there for sort of user interfaces and that sort of thing as well. User interfaces, long term. So yeah, practicing those skills as well as your 3D art is good. So nice work from Matthias there. Let's have a look at, I think Oh wait, they are coming up. Yeah. So here's Frank's one. I have to turn the sound off, Frank. Sorry about that, because otherwise I'll get done for copyright. But just imagine the Only Fools and Horses theme tune. Maybe I should sing it. Yeah, I won't sing it anymore. That will do. But it was so close to the original. I'm going to get a copyright strike for that, and they'll say, "Well, it was just exactly the same." Anyway, should we talk about the artwork? This is absolutely brilliant. Done some lovely pieces here with the hand-painted textures, and I like this sort of cut-out feel. Do you know, in terms of style, this is fantastic. You are a genius when it comes to ideas. I love the van. I'm going to play it again. Fun intro. I love the van, Trotters, Independent Traders. You probably have to be British to know of Only Fools and Horses, the series. It probably is global. I think the textures on your bridge needed to come out this way, personally. But these are brilliant. Really well done. And it's fit together so nicely. It looks very comical, even better with the sound. Sorry about my singing. But absolutely brilliant. Well done again. It's a contender, I'll say that. It's definitely a contender. Okay, so, and then we got one from Crapzone. Another one from Crapzone. This is another one? I think we've had another one. Can't remember who's... Oh, look at that. That's good fun, isn't it? Yeah, that's really cool, isn't it? That is great. And this sword is absolutely fantastic. That's what I was kind of envisaged when I said stylized, hand-painted. I was hoping people would go for this sort of style, but it's nice to see so many diverse styles out there. So that's definitely a contender as well. I'm going to play it once more. I like this. Oh, yes. And is that grease pencil perhaps, or is that just sort of modelled with textures? But it's good fun. The grass is a little bit uniform, but I suppose that's stylized grass. But maybe with the grass, make it more sort of clumpy. I don't know, actually. That's a tough one. It just doesn't quite sit right. The rock is your sword is absolutely brilliant. That's why I'm being a bit more picky about the other things. So the rock needs a tiny bit of work, I think, on the sort of edges there. It looks a bit sharp in places and then soft in others. So yeah, watching out for that. But this is brilliant. Lovely, lovely piece of work. Yeah, that is great. Oh, fantastic. And then we got one last one from Manouk. And again, I'm not playing the sound. Sorry about that. Oh, it's not working. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? Sorry about that. This was supposed to animate and something's gone wrong with my video capture. That's a bit of a shame. But yeah, this was nice because the camera came across here. That's the cool thing about using this sort of stylized textures like that. Well, using digital painting, which you can paint in layers and then you can sort of go across and give a parallax effect. But this looked really nice when it was animated. Sorry that I can't show that, but time has escaped me. Really nice work though. Looks really cool. So in terms of the winner, who have we got? Let's quickly flick through again. Absolutely fantastic one there from Crapzone. Do like that one. I do like Frank's version as well. I'm just skipping through. This is really nice, but not so much in the hand painted. This one's a great piece. There's some really great pieces. I do like what's been done and the work that's been put in. Absolutely fantastic. Nice textures there. Good piece there as well. There's some fantastic. This is really, really nice and detailed from El Pedoni. There's a nice work there. Lovely characters here. Some nice 2D work as well. This one certainly in the running. The lovely taco. Very popular on the community as well. I suppose this fits really nicely because it's both the stylized look, that sort of fantasy genre, but also the hand-painted techniques. And then we got some other brilliant one. There's a nice idea with that one. This is a pretty cool character thingy-majiggy. Philip Le Pilot again, doing some great work as always. Nice hand-painted work there. This one's certainly in the running as well. Eric J. Really, that's exceptional. And it works so nicely. This lovely church as well, isn't it? Nice again from Crapzone. Unbelievable that they're doing that with a mouse. Crazy. Another one with the mouse as well from Eric J. Really nice piece once again. So this is going to be tough. I'm thinking though, I think it's between Eric J, because that is tremendous and lovely, beautiful piece of work, and let's go through, and the lovely Taco. This is hard, this is very tough. I'm going to go for, do you know, I think this is a nicer looking piece. But in terms of the competition, in terms of stylized artwork, which I suppose could really vary in your description and ideas of it, I think this one fits the bill more, and it's more that sort of theme that fits the competition. Although, having said that, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I really do love this. I think this is exceptional. Do you know, it might be a bit contentious actually, because I think this one ought to be the winner, because it's just that sort of stylized theme. It's nice. Do you know? I am going to go for this one. So well done, the lovely Taco, because yeah, it just fits the theme of the competition. Stylized, hand painted, the expectation of the theme and everything. This though is from Eric J, is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love it, and could easily have won as well. I suppose it's probably just a preference for me, which is a bit unfair, and what I was thinking when I set the competition, I suppose. But really well done to you both. Absolutely fantastic work. And this is a lovely piece from the lovely Taco, so congratulations to you. So congratulations to the lovely Taco, a fantastic piece there, and there was some excellent work from everybody that took part. It's really great to see all the effort that went in, and I hope you got a lot out of it. I'm sure you did, with doing all that time and hours into those pieces will really improve you as an artist. That's the main point. I know it's a cliched saying about it's the taking part that counts, but it really is in the case of these competitions. So us growing as artists, that's all important. So thanks for getting involved. I hope you got a lot out of it, and well done and congratulations to all of you, especially the lovely Taco. And now your piece will be up in the background in the wall of fame, in the background of fame now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.